Good morning, even though it's the afternoon. Today we are exploring an abandoned railway line. There's a paintball place just there through the trees, so hopefully we don't get shot because they're they're playing. They just started. 3, 2, 1. Today, I wanted to digest my thoughts on photography and how so much of my old view on photography has changed. How I used to go about taking photos and why I used to take photos. I think the best place to start is probably shit. I don't know which way to go. There are two. That way or that way? Somewhere. Okay, flex the map. That way. Gee. So the best place to start is probably what interested me about photography in the first place. And I think I was just like, oh, cameras are pretty cool. Cameras, yeah. And you can like play with them and take photos. Almost seeing it as a toy kind of thing. I was probably 12. No, not even. When I started having an interest. And then when we got home after, something sparked the interest and we got home and I was like, had rummaged through to find an old camera, an old digital camera, which I went on to use for years but in the back of my mind had always been this idea of wanting to get the next better, bigger camera with more megapixels and be able to change lenses and do more. And then over the years I feel that after probably nearly a decade, maybe 6 or 7 years, I finally got my own camera. And I was like, okay. And then it was always, okay, I wanted to do something better one day though. And I've kind of gotten to this point where I realized that a camera's only as good as what you're using it for, in a way. You can have the best camera in the world, but there's no point for me if I don't have anything worth taking photos of. And it gets to a point where you're like carrying around this camera and you're like, why am I taking such a big camera, not a big camera, but a camera that's more than what I need for and you're just taking photos of random things. And kind of over time, especially in the last 5 years, I've gone out of this phase of taking photos and wanting to share them and going, the true reality is nobody really cares. Like, if you wanted to become an art photographer, as in photographer that was known, had a name for themselves, that's one thing, and sure, but I just don't really have an interest in that. And I'm like, I stopped posting images I took and deleted Instagram years ago. It's probably actually been, I think it might have been right when I finished school. I just decided that there's no reason to take photos. And no reason to share photos. So I was at this point of okay, I'm gonna stop taking photos unless something, I'm gonna stop sharing photos. And I started taking them and did that for years and enjoyed that, but then I got to this point of, why am I taking these photos? Because I never go back and look at them. I'm enjoying the process of taking it, but I'm only enjoying things because I'm only enjoying things because I'm taking photos of them. I'm not enjoying them for what they are. And I don't know, and that thought always was in the back of my mind. And I've kind of gone from wanting to take photos because cameras were fun to use to going, why am I taking photos? And inconveniencing myself in a way. And that's the thing, when you take photos, like if you love it, it's fine. But for me, it's like, oh, can you take a photo of this? Can you take a photo of that? People are always asking you, you're a photographer, you can... I don't want to label myself as a photographer. I'd rather just take photos of things that I actually want to remember or look back on. Last year, after considering doing it for years off and on, I pulled out my mum's old film camera and got some rolls of film, including a bunch of expired ones for free from someone at my work. And I put a few rolls through the camera and I was like, oh, it works. And it's always such a shock. I've heard that it's such a shock when your film camera works, first time you shoot film, because you're like, what? It just works. And now, and I slowed down with it. I don't take, when you're shooting film, there's a lot more pressure. Not pressure, but you should be have more consideration to what you're taking photos of. It. With digital, you can take photos all day and it costs no time or money in a way. But with film, every photo you take, you have to carry the film for it with you. You have to have it. We found the railway line, it looks like. So I got to this point of being like, is it a bad thing that it costs and takes more effort to get the photos out? And another thing is, when you're shooting film, the experience, hang on, let me just take a minute to appreciate this. Little guy on a dirt bike with a kid up there. I never knew this place existed. It's kinda... fucking hell. Oops. I just saw... whatever. That's cool. This is actually so close to where I live. Beware of being... Anyhow, the experience of taking photos on film versus digital. First of all, there's all the... As a person who has been a camera nerd and a bit of a just tech nerd, but I try to restrain myself. Just the action of reloading the film, like loading the spring, the shutter, cocking it, I guess, it's satisfying, but it's also the fact that you don't have the ability to review your photos. And with the camera I use, there's no autofocus, it's got no power. It has a little light meter, but I don't use that because it just isn't reliable, honestly. The battery doesn't work sometimes, it just doesn't turn on. So I've kind of just learned to either use my phone as a light meter or to make sure my exposure level's right. Wow. Pardon me. Look at this. Just look at this. What? I wonder what trains went down this in the past. But anyway, yeah. But when it comes to the fact that you can't review photos on a film camera until you look at them, first of all, it slows you down when you're taking them. And it also means you see something you want to take a photo of. So you stop for 10 seconds, you get your exposure right, you frame it up, you take one photo, maybe you'll take another photo, and that's it. And then you go back to finding the next thing worthy of your time and money. Wow, look at the lichen. That's awesome. This is amazing. But anyway, so it's kind of, and as I haven't shot heaps of film, but as I do it more and more, I go, okay, I shouldn't have bothered with that shot, I shouldn't have bothered that one, I wish I got another one, or things like that. And just, first of all, from a technical standpoint, you learn a lot more about light, but honestly, whatever. But from a, what am I taking photos of standpoint, it means I've been a lot more critical about what things I want to remember. And I love just carrying the film camera, not having to worry about having to charge it. And if there's something that I feel is worthy of taking a photo of, not on my phone, yeah, that's the thing. Having a phone with a decent camera has just replaced digital camera in my everyday. I still have a digital camera because you just need, like, I kind of need it sometimes for some of the commitments that I have. But having the film camera there, and that being my, okay, this is something I want to remember properly, kind of. And then the phone is more, oh, I want to take a photo of this. Wow, just look at that. That's amazing. But yeah, and just not being able to review the photos kind of just filters out the oh, I'm gonna check back, I'll try again. You just get what you get. And I feel that for me makes it not more authentic, but I don't want to say authentic, but more authentic. Wow, look at that. But yeah, it makes it more authentic for me, I guess. And it makes me go, well, I didn't know what the photo looked like. I didn't know it turned out like absolute poop, or I didn't know how good it was going to turn out. And that is just an experience, and it means, so yeah, photography's kind of turned from following the consumerism thing to following the consumerism thing another way, but with intention. My hand's getting sore. So, I don't know. The takeaway of that the message of this is take photos, but stop taking photos when you're just taking it because you have the ability to take a photo. Take it when you look back and go, wow. Take it when you look back and you go, I want to remember this. Like, I even look back at this and go, that would be a cool photo, but am I really going to care? And I think this brings me to my next point of the best photos, when I'm not taking photos for the sake of making a cool looking photo. Hang on, that's just so cool. Are the ones that I take because of experiences. Like, I'm thinking, On its own, no, but if I was here with some friends or something, having let them walking there and I'll just run ahead and take a photo, that would be a memory right there. And this on its own is a memory, but I don't have the need, I don't feel the urge to take it on its own. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's a bad mindset or a good mindset, but it's really quiet out here. But yeah. That's the next thing, like moments, like the distraction of a camera and all that. It's a bit of a, to me it's a bit precious, but there's some truth in it that I very much give into. Because if I always am taking photos and always just going to, oh, that makes some cool photos. Yeah, it's valid, but for me, I'm like, some cool photos for what? I don't have any interest in sharing them on social media or starting a photography blog or something. So why am I taking them? And maybe I'll regret that one day, but in this moment, I feel that to be true to myself is to just take a photo because it's a memory that I want to go, oh, and bring myself back to that time. And that's where the film comes in again. Like, I'm not being so distracted looking at making sure I got the right photo. And of course you can do that digitally, but literally not having the ability to do that makes a difference. Now, I'm sure there's some other points, so we'll keep going if I kept thought of anything, but otherwise I'll leave it there as we head up to the old train station. But in the name of only taking photos because there's something I will remember, I'm not going to include that in this video. Just my reaction. I hope you enjoyed watching this in 20 years. I hope. Wow. Train station's just out of frame. Hope you're doing well.